Watch your hand for a second. You wake up and before your eyes are even open, it already knows where the phone is. An economist named Herbert Simon saw this coming in 1971. Looking at information costs you attention. So the more information there is, the less attention you've got to go around. That makes it scarce. And scarce things get a price. 55 years later, somebody's buying yours, and the sale closes in milliseconds. You've heard the phone gives you little hits of dopamine. That's close. It's also wrong in the way that counts. In 1997, 3 scientists, Schultz, Dayan, and Montague, worked out what dopamine actually tracks. Not pleasure, surprise. The gap between what you expected and what you got. Get exactly what you predicted and not much happens. Get something you didn't see coming, and it spikes. So the machine isn't built to make you happy. It's built to keep you guessing. That guessing has a name. In 1957, 2 researchers, Ferster and Skinner, mapped what happens when a reward comes. Not every time, and never on a pattern you can crack. Of everything they tested, it was the hardest habit to break. A pigeon fed at random keeps pecking long after a pigeon fed like clockwork gives up. Now look at your own phone. Pull to refresh. That's the slot machine lever. The red badge, which tells you nothing except that something somewhere happened. And the feed with no bottom, which took the one thing every page used to have. An end. And it was on purpose. In 2017, one of Facebook's founders said it out loud. They'd built a social approval loop that exploits a weakness in human psychology, and in his words, they did it anyway. So what does it actually cost you? Not an outrage. In numbers. Sophie Leroy, 2009. Start something, get pulled away before you finish, and part of your head stays behind. She called it attention residue. Adrian Ward's team, 2017. People took memory tests. With the phone on the desk, in a pocket, or in another room. Some switched it all the way off. Switching it off did nothing. Distance did. The further away the phone, the more they could hold. It doesn't have to buzz. It just has to be within reach. Okay. That last study is the weakest thing I've shown you. In 2022, someone ran it again. Properly, with the whole analysis locked in before they looked at the data. Nothing. No effect. I just spent 35 seconds on that. A year later, a review pooled 22 of these studies. The effect's real, and it's about 1/7 of a standard deviation. Small. Then the biggest look we have. Amy Orban and Andrew Przybylski, 2019. Every reasonable version of the analysis at once, across 355,000 teenagers. The link between screen time and feeling bad is real, and negative, and at most 0.4% of what's going on. In the same data, eating potatoes looked almost as bad for you. Wearing glasses looked 1.5 times worse. And in one of those data sets alone, there were 600 million defensible ways to run the numbers. So to be clear, this isn't me letting them off. The tricks are real. The harm spread across everyone is small and badly measured. Both are true at once. A tiny average is just what a real effect looks like when you spread it across millions of people it never touched. Leon Festinger, 1954. You work out how you're doing by looking at other people. When there's no objective yardstick, you use whoever's around. For most of history, whoever's around meant the people in the room. A few dozen faces. Now the room is everyone. Ranked. On their best day. And it never closes. And you're in it. None of this is a conspiracy. It's a business model, and it's right there in the filings. They sell your attention over and over, and what keeps it worth selling is that you never quite know what you'll get next. You're not going to out-willpower that. Nobody does. So change the machine instead of yourself. Turn off the badges. Make the rewards predictable and boring. And then it gets easy to put down, because there's nothing left to wait for.